You got the promotion 2 months ago. The salary jumped by about $8,000 a year, and on paper that looked like real progress. But now you are driving 40 minutes each way instead of 15 because the new office is across town. Parking is $160 a month. You are eating out more because you get home later, and cooking feels impossible after a 10-hour day. The dry cleaning bill doubled because the new role needs you in different clothes. And when you sat down last weekend and actually looked at your checking account, the balance was almost exactly where it was before the promotion, except now you are more tired. That is not a coincidence, and it is not bad luck. It is a pattern that shows up every time a raise or promotion arrives, with hidden operating costs attached. The salary went up in one visible number on the offer letter, but the costs of earning that salary went up in 5 or 6 smaller charges scattered across the month where they are easy to miss. By the time you notice the parking, the gas, the food, the wardrobe, and the convenient spending that comes from having less free time, the raise has already been absorbed. The promotion can look bigger on paper while making daily life feel tighter because nobody told you to subtract the new costs before you decided what the raise was actually worth. I am Sam from Simply Money, and I have spent way too much time analyzing why people who earn more after a career move still end up with the same financial margin they had before. If you have ever gotten a raise and then wondered a few months later where the extra money actually went, subscribe. Because diagnosing that gap is exactly what this channel does. Today, I'm going to walk you through a 3-step framework for calculating the real value of a raise before the hidden costs lock in. Let me start with the cost most people forget to count on day one. The cost most people forget to count on day one is the commute, and it is almost never just gas. Go back to the promotion from the opening. The old job was 15 minutes away. The new one is 40. That extra 50 minutes a day, round trip, adds up to more than 4 hours a week of unpaid time sitting in a car. But the dollar cost is what really changes the math. Parking is $160 a month. Fuel went up because the mileage nearly tripled. Wear on the car accelerated, which means oil changes, tires, and maintenance all arrive sooner, and insurance can adjust when your annual mileage climbs. Transportation is not a tiny footnote in the household budget. For the average household, it runs about $13,300 a year, roughly 17% of total spending. Housing and transportation together can take about half of everything a household earns, which means any promotion that changes one of those two categories is not a small adjustment. It is a structural shift in the monthly board. Here is the mechanism that makes this pattern so consistent. Call it scattered cost absorption. The salary increase arrives as one visible number on the offer letter or the first new pay stub, and it feels like a single clear gain. But the costs of earning that salary arrive as 5 or 6 separate charges spread across different weeks, different accounts, and different mental categories. Parking comes out of one place. Gas comes from the pump. Lunch is a card swipe at noon. Dry cleaning hits the statement at the end of the month. None of them individually looks like it could cancel out a raise. But together, they stack. And because they are scattered, the brain never totals them against the salary the way it would if the company just handed you a smaller check. The result is that a raise only helps if the new money outruns the new costs. And a meaningful share of adults say their spending went up even faster than their income did over the past year. Now here is where the math makes this undeniable. Take that $8,000 raise from the opening. After federal and state income tax plus payroll taxes, depending on the bracket, the take-home increase might land closer to $5,500 or $6,000 for the year. That is roughly $450 to $500 a month of actual new money in the checking account. Now subtract the new costs. Parking is $160. Extra fuel and mileage costs add about $120. Eating out twice a week because you get home too late to cook is another $160 or so. Work clothes and dry cleaning add maybe $80. That is $520 a month in new recurring costs tied directly to the new role. The raise brought about $450 to $500 a month after taxes. The new cost took $520. The promotion is now running at a net loss of roughly $20 to $70 a month before you have upgraded a single thing about your lifestyle. And that is without counting the value of the extra time you lost to the commute, which you can never bill, but absolutely feel. But here's the mid-script turn that changes how a lot of viewers read this. You might be thinking the real villain is the tax bracket, that moving into a higher bracket is what ate the raise. That fear is one of the most common reasons people hesitate about promotions, and it is almost always the wrong worry. The federal tax system is layered, which means moving into a higher bracket does not make all of your income taxed at that higher rate. Only the dollars above the bracket threshold get the new rate, while everything below it stays at the old rates. In most cases, the tax impact of a modest raise is a small fraction of the total increase. The real danger is almost never the bracket. It is the full set of required costs and behavior changes that the new role brings with it, because those costs hit every single month at full price, while the tax effect is usually a much smaller per dollar adjustment. This is where the decision shifts from daily math to life architecture. Picture someone who gets promoted into a role with more responsibility, longer hours, and more meetings that bleed into the evening. The salary is higher, but the job now consumes so much recovery time that the household starts paying for convenience in ways it never did before. Takeout becomes the default because nobody has energy to cook after a 12-hour day. A cleaning service gets added because weekends are now for recovering, not chores. The kids go into a slightly longer aftercare program because pickup time shifted by an hour. None of these feels extravagant in isolation. Each one feels like a reasonable response to a harder schedule. But together, they represent a new layer of recurring costs that exist only because the promotion changed the shape of the day, and they will keep drafting every month as long as the job stays the same. So here's the 3-step framework the opening promised, and it looks different depending on where you are in the decision. The first step is the real raise calculation. Before you accept or celebrate, take the gross salary increase, subtract a realistic tax estimate, and then subtract every new required cost you can identify. Commute, parking, meals, wardrobe, childcare changes, and any benefits shift like a higher insurance premium or a lost employer contribution. The number that remains after all of that is the real raise, and if it is close to zero or negative, the promotion is not what it looks like on the offer letter. The second step is the benefits comparison. Do not just compare old salary to new salary. Compare old life to new life. A promotion can change the real value of your compensation when the retirement match percentage shifts, when health insurance premiums change, when paid time off increases or decreases, or when schedule demands force you into spending you would not otherwise need. If the old job had a better match, better insurance, or more flexibility, those differences have a dollar value that belongs on the comparison sheet, even though they never appear on the pay stub. The third step is the margin check. Only about 55% of adults say they have 3 months of expenses saved in an emergency fund. If you're in the other half, the question before any promotion is not just whether your salary goes up, but whether your monthly margin goes up. Because a raise that does not produce recurring leftover money cannot become a buffer, cannot become additional savings, and cannot create the kind of structural progress that actually changes your financial position over time. If you are evaluating a promotion right now and the commute, schedule, or benefits are changing significantly, run the real raise calculation before you respond. If you have already accepted and the margin feels the same or worse, audit the scattered costs from the past 2 months and find the ones that are directly tied to the role change, because those are the charges you either need to eliminate, negotiate with the employer, or accept as the true price of the move. And if you are being offered a lateral move or a title change with a small raise and a much longer commute, the math almost always says negotiate for remote days, a transportation allowance, or a larger salary before you say yes, because the hidden costs will lock in on day one whether you have counted them or not. The decision rule is this: do not compare old salary to new salary. Compare old margin to new margin, old cost to new costs, and old time to new time. The question is not, did the number on the pay stub go up? The question is, did the money left over after the full cost of earning it go up, because that leftover is the only part of a raise that actually becomes progress. You did not mismanage the promotion. You just measured the gain in salary and missed the costs and scattered charges. The next time a raise arrives, count the whole board before you decide what it is really worth. In the next video, I want to show you how to build a 1-page cost of working sheet so you can see exactly what your job costs you to hold and what would actually change if the next offer looked different.